Welcome. My name is Melinda Hart. You are watching Stamping with Hart. You can find me at stampingwithhart.blogspot.com. I have a host code that is good through January 17th, 2022. If you spend $50 with me in the online store before tax, you will get a free embellishment when you use this host code. And I will put a link in the comments of the video after the live so that you guys can find it easily. But there is also a link on my blog where you can go to. So tonight we are going to be working on part 2 of the December 2021 Paper Pumpkin alternate projects. I know that that is a mouthful. So there's a couple of reasons why I decided to do this that I'm just going to walk you through quickly, and then we'll get into this. So Paper Pumpkin, if you don't already know, is a monthly craft subscription box from Stampin' Up. Looks like this. $22 a month if you want to do the month-to-month option, and we also have prepaid options where you can earn celebration rewards. And the January kit, which is super adorable, we have not received yet. So when I did my first alternate Paper Pumpkin video for December, it was really close to the holiday. And I wanted to try to keep the video short. So I did a couple of cards, and then I thought, you know what, I'm going to come back because I really wanted to play more with the puns and the sentiments that they have in this kit. So that is what we're going to do today. We're going to be working with the Stamparatus, and we're going to be working with the sentiments to just kind of show you how you can be efficient with your Stamparatus, and how if you are somebody who really loves card kits, you like making alternate projects, or you like to get a lot of cards done in a short period of time, the Stamparatus is really going to help you with that. So we're going to be working with these Paper Pumpkin projects. We're going to recreate these. I'm not going to color in all the cherries all over again, but we're definitely going to work on the Stamparatus techniques. So I know that there are a lot of people out there who really love card kits, or they like making large quantities of cards that they either, send to the military, they take them to nursing homes or hospitals or, places like that that accept them. And I think that this is going to be a really cool technique, whether you're going for a design in a card or if you need to stamp a bunch of these at once. So we'll get into all of the measurements and the sizing in just a minute, but let me go ahead and get the Stamparatus here. So here are the two card projects. The idea here with this one, I kind of wanted to create like a menu look because we had food, but I also wanted to take advantage of the fact that almost all of the sentiments in our kit, if not all of them, are very similar in size. This is really unusual for a Paper Pumpkin kit. And when I saw that they had this going on, I was like, oh my goodness, we really have to do something with that. And then we also have this one too. So this is where we're kind of working with the puns with the Stamparatus. And then on this one, we're going to be working with stamping a repeat image with the Stamparatus if you want to create patterns quickly and things like that. So let me just tell you really briefly about the Stamparatus. This is a stamping tool that helps you with precision, repeat stamping, creative patterns, all of that lovely stuff. And when you order the Stamparatus, you actually get 2 of these plates that hinge onto your Stamparatus. Where's my other one? Here it is. Okay, so you're going to get 2 plates when you get it. You're also going to get this foam mat. There's this this base that has the measurements on the base. And then you also get magnets. And the magnets help to keep your projects in place while you're stamping. And your Stamparatus has hinges on 2 sides. Okay, so technically, if you would want, you could actually hinge and stamp this way and then this way and this way and then this way and move it right on down the line if you would want to, or just swap in and out whatever layers it is that you're stamping over and over again. So there's lots of ways that you can do this. But tonight I'm going to be using it to show you how to stamp a bunch of sentiments at once. and then our repeat patterns. So in order to do this, I'm going to get the piece that really caught my eye in the kit originally. So whenever you get your paper pumpkin kits, and I do have other videos on paper pumpkin about everything that you get, but it's an all-inclusive kit, meaning you get your card bases, you get your embellishments, your adhesive, you get your envelopes, everything right in this box. I'm going to go right to the die cuts. So let me see if I can find those, and I see them right here. Okay, so we'll worry about all these other pieces later. Right now, it's the die cuts that I want, and you get lots of them in this kit, and adorable ones at that. Okay, so this is the piece that caught my eye. And if you guys haven't used your paper pumpkin yet, if you happened to have not made your December paper pumpkins, or if you purchased refills, hi Jocelyn, how are you? If you've purchased refills for your kit, then you'll probably have some of these to work with. So if you don't, you know, you could always check out what kits you have, you know, in your inventory. You might be able to do it with this. But this was what really, this is what I noticed, because typically when you get a paper pumpkin kit, there are multiple fonts and multiple sizes with your stamps. Okay. But this month in December, well, last month now. So this last month in December, all of the sentiments were just about the same size. There's very slight variations here in the font. Some are in caps, some are not, but they all fit here. They all fit on this strip of sentiments. So if you want to stamp all of these out at once, if you know you're going to be using the same ink color, you're going to be sticking within the same theme, you know, you're not going to veer too far off course. It's going to be really easy to do this. So what you want to do is you want to get this lined up. Now what I did was I flipped it over onto the back side first so that I could test it out. Okay. And then the next thing that I did, I'm going to remove this top stamp here from my, I didn't want to have to line these all up again on the live because you guys will be here with me for a minute. But once you get this lined up, once you get this right, you could do this over and over again. So what you're going to do is you're going to line your stamp up with the sentiment, and you know, or with the die cut piece, whatever it is. And the trick to getting it to stay there once you get it in place is to just like very lightly press down on it. I just put a little pressure with my nail. I didn't even touch it with my finger so that I didn't pull it back up again. But you're going to position them one after the other. You're going to position them all at the same time, and then you're going to pick it up with your Stamparatus. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to see if we're hitting on all of them. And I believe that we are. I think that we're pretty well lined up here. So you're going to get your stamps. I'm going to pick this up slowly so that I'm not pulling on this too much. Okay, and we're going to put our magnets in place. So the magnets are going to help you keep this in position. Think of the back side as your practice side. And then I'm just going to check this one more time and see if I'm happy with this. I'm going to remove this. We don't need this other one right now. We'll get to that one in a minute. But I'm almost like tempted to bring this closer to the camera, but I don't know if it's going to get blurry. So hopefully you guys can see where that is lined up there. So I'm going to take a shot here, and I'm going to try it. Okay, if we need to reposition, we can do that. And the reason these little orange stars here are here is to try to help me with my my positioning. If I, you know, made a mistake, or if I bumped it, or if I pulled it up too quickly, that I could get it back into place pretty quickly. And if you have the there are disposable like practice sheets that you can place on your Stamparatus. If you have those, just use that and mark it with your pen. Okay, so I'm going to use the Early Espresso ink. Now you get a ink spot with Early Espresso in the December kit, and Stampin' spots are ideal for using with the Stamparatus. They're very compact, and they're clean, and they're easy to ink up your sentiments. The other thing is, if you have a stamp set, just slide it right underneath this door here, or this this plate is what I want to say, and it will keep it nice and flat so that you can ink your sentiments without having to be at an awkward angle. So I'm going to take my ink spot. If you have your full-size ink pad, this is good too. Just be mindful when you have the large size ink pad that you may get some residual ink on your plate that you're going to want to keep in check so that you don't end up getting it on your finger or on your project. So I'm going to ink these, but let's give this a try. All right, so I'm just going to press this down, get my impression here, and I'm just going to take my time picking up that plate, and that's so that I don't pull it up quickly and end up moving my paper in case I need to re-ink any of these sentiments. And there we go. So they're all looking really good to me, but just for the sake of having them be nice and bold, I'm going to go through one more time. But the way that the ink spots are, it's so easy to ink them this way. Okay. It's still looking good. So we're going to go down one more time and press to get a good impression. And we're going to pull the plate up slowly. Okay, now let me bring this a little bit closer to the camera so you guys can see this. Hey Tracy, how are you? No problem, no worries at all. I'm just happy that you guys are here. Okay, so can you see that? And that way they're all lined up. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to flip it to the other side, and we're going to do it again. So now you potentially have double-sided. So if you want the basic white side, you got it. If you want the pool party side, you got it. So I'm going to try this one more time. If you don't get it perfect, you know you have a good side, right? So I'm going to pay attention to my little stars here. I'm going to try to get this back in place again. Okay. I'm not going to set this down because I have ink on it, but if you want to clean between flipping sides so that you can set it completely down, go ahead and do that. I'm just going to eyeball it. And it still looks good to me. It looks like they might be a little bit higher, but I think that we're good. So I'm going to put my magnets back in place again. Okay. Let's see. I think it's okay. We're going to find out. We'll find out together. So if you are somebody who likes using every single piece, we're going to do that. We're going to do that too. So let's see. You can see it's now really good, you know, well printed on both sides. It doesn't even look like it's stamped. And I think that that is what I just love so much about the Stamparatus. You don't have to worry about it being crooked in a very narrow die cut size. So if you have the December kit, you're going to love this. All right, so now what we're going to do, I'm going to set this aside. We're going to take a break for the Stamparatus for just a minute. We'll come right back to it. Let me set this over here. Okay, so we're going to pop these out, and then these are the ones that I did earlier. Okay, so you can have lots of them if you have the refills. All right, I'm going to kind of go right to the line. So whenever you close your paper trimmer, hi Kathy, how are you? How are you doing tonight? Whenever you close your paper trimmer, you have this space right in here, and you can sort of see where your lineup is. So that's what I'm doing right now. And I just want to make sure I'm not going to cut into any of these slots here. And I am going to trim this. It's going to be narrow. We'll see what we do. See how we do. Okay, and we got it. So we're going to keep this piece. We're going to use this piece again in a minute. And now we're going to cut up a couple of our cards. So let me grab, I think it was the yellow card base that I used. So I love these because you can use both sides. I love cutting these things apart and kind of turning them into other things, but in this case, we're going to keep the cards the same size. I'm just going to put a layer over. So let me see if I can find my yellow ones. Here we go. All right. So I'm going to cut this piece up. Save your pieces. You could always use them on other things, but it's so nice to have the printed versions too. I'm going to go right on that score line and cut. Okay, and I'm going to keep this panel this size. So we're going to keep it the full size. We're not going to trim it down. Okay. So if the thought of stamping onto a grid like that makes you nervous, like if you just thought, you know, oh, maybe you're new to the Stamparatus and you're thinking, I don't think I want to do that, you could just stamp it down onto whatever color cardstock or, you know, whatever card base you want. So that is what we're going to do here. And I'm going to line this up. And let me check this out. So here's the original card, okay? So we're just going to kind of eyeball the panel. The panel's going to run alongside the card. And I'm not going to stamp with this down. I'm just kind of eyeballing it. So let me see if I'm liking the positioning of everything, because I want to be able to fit my food on the other side. And it's pretty good. Looks pretty good. All right, so now we have that. The next part of this that I did was we're gonna take this brown piece here, and listen to me, brown. How about crumb cake? Why don't I tell you guys the right color if you wanna coordinate? So we're gonna take this little crumb cake piece here. I love that it has like a light pattern on it. So it just, the kits are so visual, and I really appreciate that, including the instructions. Okay, I am just a visual person. So we're gonna kind of set this, we don't wanna cover up any of our sentiments, right? But we wanna set this kind of along that edge, and then I'm gonna glue this piece down. You have all of these die cut pieces of food that you can use. So we're gonna use one of each. So that is the first card, you guys. So I know that seems like a lot, but I just think it's so cute. And you get lots and lots of sentiments out of it. Okay, so for the second one, let me just, you should see the way that this space is looking. Here's the second card. Here's the layer that we're going to be using. I'm going to be working with a piece of basic white. Whether you guys like working with basic white thick or regular for your Stampin' blends is totally up to you. I know that some people have a definite choice that they, you know, they prefer the thick. I use basic, but thick is great too. So where, you know, we were working from this side, now we're going to be working from the top. So this is one of those things where you do want to take into account the measurements of the hinge, like how much spacing in between each hinge, and the positioning of your stamp. So depending on the size of your stamp, you may have to go every hinge or every other hinge. And if you position it to the side like this, like at an angle, you could usually get away with a wider stamp, actually stamping nicely in a row without having to have big wide spaces in between. All right, it might not be 100%, but I'm going to go with it on the live. I could just refilm it later, but let's try this. So I'm going to move that hinge over to the second hinge and we're going to stamp. I'm going to lift up slowly. If you have a good hold on your paper, then you don't have to worry about it. So we're going to move over to the third hinge, ink and stamp. Now the fourth hinge, and we're going to ink it. Okay. And as you move over and get to the end of those hinges, it can start to move a little bit. So just make sure you're bringing it straight down from the bottom and press. Okay. And now for this part that's going to go slightly over, if you guys, you know, want to go over, I'm just going to tuck a little piece of scrap paper here, and then we're going to move over that hinge one more time. We're going to stamp one more time. Okay. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, because we're going to have 2 rows on both sides, I'm going to put my little star markers here. Let's try this one more time. Okay. And we're going to turn it over. So we're just going to go to the other side here. Your ink's going to dry pretty quick, but if you don't want to put your magnet on it, you don't have to do that. I would kind of like to put it in the middle-ish. Okay, and then we're going to start back at our starting place. Okay, and we're going to ink again. So you're just going to repeat this process. And we're good. And I can see here this one's looking a little bit faded. So I'm going to walk it back and I'm going to re-ink this. We're all good. Okay, so that is our fun with the Stamparatus. So the other thing that you guys can do, you know, if you want to do this in one particular image and repeat, that's basically how you do it. And if you would want to do all 4, because you get all 4 of these in the stamps as well, here it is here, then you could just put them all in the line and stamp them again and again and again, row by row. So you have your banana, your egg, and your toast. So once you run out of the die cuts, you still can stamp them endlessly. Okay, so I'm going to take this, move this out of the way. I'm just going to color one. I'm not going to color them all on the live with you guys, but we're going to use Cherry Cobbler Light, Granny Apple Green Light, and we're going to use the Color Lifter. Just did that, and then the Color Lifter it's just alcohol basically, so it will pull up any color that you put down. It's not going to completely erase it, but it will lighten it. So let me just show you right here where they have that little reflector piece, like in the art. I just went in with my Color Lifter and lightened that up. And the longer you stay on it, so like the more back and forth you go, the lighter it gets in that spot. And once you pull your color lifter away, it will still continue to lighten just for a minute until that alcohol dries. So if you guys can see that. Okay, and then that was it. I just basically wanted it to look like it had a little bit of a shine on it. And then we'll do the Granny Apple Green light for the relief. And again, I did not do any shading on that. I just kept it really simple with the color. And then for the assembly of this card, the pieces that you're gonna need from the kit are this super cute, not quite a circle, what shape would I call this? That was close, a scallop circle, inverse scallop circle. We're gonna need that piece. We're also gonna need, from our die cuts, the hello. So we're gonna punch that one out. Okay. And then we're gonna look for our You Are Cherry Sweet from everything that we just stamped earlier. And let's see if I can find it. I should have set that aside. Oh, here we go. Hey, hey. All right, we didn't have to look through 50 of them. And let me get, here we go. I love these. You also get adhesive dots, by the way, in your kit. I don't think I showed you guys that originally. I love these multicolor strips here. I think that this is so cool. Should do something like that for a stamp. That's a perfect Stamparatus thing right there too, if you have any line stamps. Okay, so the way that we would put this together is just glue these pieces down here. I'm gonna finish coloring my panel off the live, but I'm still gonna show you at least how I assembled this. So you're gonna put this piece so that it's slightly overlapping your hello in the center. So sorry, I'm like knocking everything everywhere. Okay, and then same exact thing where I took the back of a card and put it on top of another card. Okay, so like I absolutely adore this pattern. I am obsessed with this card pattern. So I'm gonna do the same thing. We're gonna cut this in half. We're gonna keep it its full size. But I did think that if you did trim this down, it would look really cute as a layer on the Granny Apple Green. So what I mean is, if we did this at a slightly smaller measurement and let that be the border, it would tie back into the leaves really cute. So just something to keep in mind if you guys want to do that. So this piece will get glued onto a card base, and this all just gets glued together, and that is your card. Okay, so there you have it. There are the cards for tonight. I hope you guys got something out of it with the Stamparatus tips. But yeah, I really hope that you love this. The other thing I didn't get to show you, which I was really hoping to get a card made for, but I didn't, is that you could do the same sentiment and repeat as a pattern on your card. So if you wanted to do You Are Cherry Sweet all the way down the card and then have cherries all along the side, or, you know, horizontally, just however you would want to do that, that would be a super cute pattern too. Or you could alternate a sentiment. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me tonight. I appreciate it. And I will see you again on Sunday at 7:30. Have a great night. Bye.